Ross Dellinger is reporting that Trump is making plans to create a presidential commission on college athletics, the first step in what could be a months-long endeavor for solutions to the issues ailing the ecosystem. Multiple sources, both in Congress and within college sports, spoke to Yahoo Sports under condition of anonymity as they were not authorized to speak about the plan. Many college sports stakeholders have been briefed on the matter. It's not clear when an announcement could come. The commission will be led by former Alabama coach Nick Saban and Texas billionaire businessman Cody Campbell, who sold an energy company for $2.5 billion, played football for Texas Tech. It's not that old, actually. Played for Mike Leach. This is after Trump and Nick Saban met with each other last week during Alabama's commencement. The commission is expected to deeply examine the landscape of college sports, including the frequency of player movement in the transfer portal, the unregulated booster compensation paid to athletes, the debate of college employment, preserving the Olympic sports structure, the application of Title IX to school revenue share payments, and even conference membership shakeup and conference television contracts, those with knowledge of the commission told Yahoo Sports. There's a lot of things that could be addressed with this commission. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm not throwing it out the window. Conference realignment, television contracts, things like that, you could definitely address. But the root thing that they're trying to get to with this is not going to be able to be addressed. And I've always been talking about this, and it is NIL. The key phrase, quote, the unregulated booster compensation paid to athletes. How are you going to regulate it? Seriously, how are you going to regulate the unregulated compensation from boosters paid to athletes? Now, if you want to talk about a way to navigate the legal avenues of Title IX and the Antitrust Act, because as of right now, they're in direct conflict with each other, and that's what universities are facing. Because universities now have to allow players to get paid, but there is theoretically that's based on the antitrust law of the 1890s, but that also can lead to a Title IX violation for student athletes at public universities, which was passed in the 1970s. There's some legal way to thread that, and maybe the commission can do that. But how are you going to regulate money boosters pay to athletes? First of all, I mean, I don't even want to get to the point of, I don't like to get to political parties in this, but like, I mean, Trump is a Republican president. He's conservative. That's fine. Conservatives typically believe in the free market and not regulating things and allowing the market to take its course and not limiting how much money you can make. Is it really conservative for the president to use an executive order to limit the amount of money a college athlete can get paid from boosters on the open market? I mean, we can point that out. That doesn't seem very conservative to me, honestly. Isn't part of capitalism letting you get paid whatever your market value is worth? On top of that, it's an antitrust violation. Now, I'm sorry, guys. I got a little tickle in my throat. Now, what the schools pay the players can be regulated. One, they're public institutions, most of them. Some, even if they are private, probably get public funding for money. And if you let the players unionize, then you can regulate that. But at the same time, how are you going to regulate a player being able to make ad money on the open market because a booster wants to endorse him? How do you regulate that? Now, David Speak says they can fix the transfer rules on eligibility. Yes, that's true. They could. I think the transfer rules have gotten a little bit out of hand. At the same time, is it not better than it was? Now players aren't stuck in a program where they're not going to be a starter for years if they commit to a school where there's better players at that program. I don't know what the best solution is. Here's my proposal for the transfer rules, and I actually like the original way. The transfer rules are this. My solution is you can transfer out and go to any school you want to one time without any stipulations. One time. Now, coaches can't ever block transfers. Let's stop that. Stop the blocking of transfers. You can transfer out and go to any school you want to one time. If you have completed your undergraduate courses and gotten an undergraduate degree, you can transfer as many times as you want per the amount of eligibility you have left in college football. So if you completed your undergraduate courses and have an undergraduate degree, you can transfer as many times as you want with no penalty. And even before that, you can transfer as many times as you want, at least one time. I'm sorry, let me say that. You can transfer. Every player gets to transfer one time with no penalties to wherever they want to go. Every player who has an undergraduate degree can transfer to whatever school they want to as many times as they want to with no penalty. However, if you have transferred once and you have not completed your undergraduate degree, then if you transfer again, you have to sit out a year and take a red shirt. That's the way I think this works, okay? That's the way I think this should play out. But addressing the transfer rules is a fair way to handle this. Again, the compensation to athletes can't be regulated, and that's what they want to do. And I have to ask this question too. Nick Saban has been advocating for college football changes like this for a year. Okay, he's already been working with people to come up with solutions. To his credit, I do think Nick Saban wants to try to fix college football. But here's the real question. Why does a presidential commission need to be made on that? If Nick Saban's already studying the issue, why does a commission need to be made for it? It doesn't. Nothing's going to come of it. Bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank, member FDIC, Life Made Better, CBTN.com. The presidential commission that Donald Trump is creating to address issues ailing college athletics won't address the root issue that Nick Saban wants to address, even though he's on the board. Bank on it.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial.
All right, I'm putting this out on the poll question. Donald Trump creating a commission with Nick Saban to try to fix issues with college sports is a good idea. Government shouldn't regulate player pay. How about that? Okay, so here's my issue. Here's my question. Donald Trump creating a commission with Nick Saban to fix NIL issues in college sports is a good idea, or government shouldn't regulate player pay. You guys let me know what you think on that. Donald Trump creating a commission with Nick Saban to try to fix NIL issues in college sports is a good idea, or government shouldn't regulate player pay. I'm sorry. I'm on the issue of government shouldn't regulate player pay. I'm sorry. They should not regulate player pay. You guys let me know what you think. There's other ways and other avenues to fix things related to NIL and revenue sharing, but you can't regulate what players get on the open market. That's just not something that is appropriate. Again, the Sherman Antitrust Act makes it very clear players are allowed to maximize their revenue, and you are violating the Antitrust Act when you don't let them make money off their name, image, and likeness. Money was being stolen from them for years through video game sales, through jerseys, okay? When number 16 was sold at Tennessee as a jersey with no name on the back for years, everybody knew it was Peyton Manning, and he couldn't make a dime off that in the 90s. When Tim Tebow's number 15 was being sold at Florida without his name on the back during the mid-2000s, everybody was making money off Tim Tebow but Tim Tebow. Sorry, you should absolutely stay. I'm just going to say it. I'm not one of those. I'm not like, I'll just be upfront with you guys. I'm not some libertarian who thinks the government has to stay the hell out of everything related to the market and the economy. But the government should not be telling a person that they can't make a certain amount of money off their name, image, and likeness. You should never be limited on what you can make off your own name, image, and likeness. That's absolutely ridiculous, okay? Now, if you want to limit what's paid to players through the university and work with colleges to address that, help the players unionize, fine. That's not the problem. The problem is NIL is not that, and people need to stop thinking it is. Legally, NIL is money. Boosters pay players. They are considered endorsement deals. You cannot limit what players make on endorsement deals in NIL. You just can't. That's not something you can ever do. So I think it's absolutely ridiculous to think you're going to address this issue all the way around. I don't think it's possible right now. I think it's more important to try to figure out some sort of solution where there's revenue sharing amongst the schools themselves. Maybe set a stipulation for people who are boosters. Maybe the legal avenue is if you are a booster for the university, based on the amount of money you give, there's a limit on what you can give in endorsements, period, to members of that university. You could create a conflict of interest clause there that technically wouldn't violate the antitrust laws. But at that point, many of the boosters would just stop giving to the university and give to the players in general. So I don't think there's any way you can do this that is going to work out the way people want. And it doesn't matter if these are public colleges, because the money the players are making does not come from the college. It comes from the boosters, and it comes from companies and advertising revenue and endorsements for their name, image, and likeness. There is no way you could legally tell a player or a person in general, or anybody in the world, or at least anybody in this country, that they are limited in what they can make off their name, image, and likeness. And that is the issue.